Our top story tonight, Whitefield Square in Savannah is being called sacred ground after a new survey revealed dozens of potential unmarked graves. WSAV's Isabella Baez joins us now with how the discovery is shedding light on a little-known part of the city's history and raising questions about what comes next.
That's right, Nakaya. Sacred ground, that is how Whitefield Square is being described after a recent survey uncovered more than 80 potential unmarked graves of enslaved and free people of color.
Why was this burial ground developed over? And I think, trying to give it respect that those individuals were due and were not given at the time is important to us.
Historical records show the site served as a public burial ground for enslaved and free people of color starting around 1763, at a time when cemeteries were segregated. Luciana Spraker with the city of Savannah says the burial ground closed in 1844 due to overcrowding, and a new site was established before remains were later ordered to be moved to Laurel Grove Cemetery.
City Council authorized the city marshal to relocate burials from, again, what was known as Negro Burial Ground to Laurel Grove Cemetery. So we wanted to know, are there still burials here under what is now Whitefield Square?
To find answers, the city partnered with the Lamar Institute to conduct a non-invasive ground penetrating radar survey, which uses radar pulses to detect what's beneath the surface without disturbing the ground.
They found about 80 individual ones, and then they found two what they believe are burial clusters where they're so close together that they could not actually kind of identify how many were in those clusters.
The final report confirms what many in the community suspected, that not all remains were moved before the square was developed in the 1850s. The city now has plans to treat the area as an inactive historical burial ground, similar to Colonial Park Cemetery, while also moving forward with plans for a historical marker or memorial. Spraker says the new information is a way for them to honor the men and women who didn't get the proper memorial.
Not all history is happy and positive, and I think the best way to move beyond it is to talk about it and learn from it and try to make right.
Spraker says they are offering recommendations to city leaders, including a marker and forming an advisory group to help determine the next steps. Isabella Baez, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Thank you, Isabella. Some new details tonight about that viral video of a beating in a Pooler parking lot. The Chatham County Sheriff tells WSAV a second arrest warrant has been issued. This comes after 34-year-old Montreon Williams was arrested on Tuesday for allegedly organizing the beating. It happened in the Walmart parking lot in Pooler and was taken almost a year ago. The video went viral after Sheriff Coleman went live on Facebook from the scene and shared the video, vowing to bring everyone involved to justice. Sheriff Coleman plans to release more information about the second suspect tomorrow. We'll keep you updated on air and online as we learn more. It was a deadly night in the Low Country. 3 people are dead following a shooting that started on Hilton Head Island. It ended hours later in Bluffton, where deputies say the suspect turned the gun on himself. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office says deputies were called to Lark Street just after 11:30 last night. When they arrived, they found 2 victims, a 50-year-old woman and a man in his 60s, shot and killed outside a home and no suspect in sight. Police confirming to WSAV the female victim and the suspect were a couple at one point, and the woman filed a police report with them for a domestic situation in early February. Police say they did investigate but did not file charges. Deputies were able to track the suspect's vehicle to this home on Promenade Street in Bluffton. A perimeter was set around the house, and after hours of negotiations, a woman inside was able to safely get out. Deputies later entered and found the suspect dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Investigators call this the result of a domestic situation, and there is no threat to the public. And as investigators work to quickly track down the suspect, they relied on technology that's becoming more common in law enforcement: license plate reading cameras. WSAV's Danielle Cobb takes a closer look at how they work.
While they have several purposes, the sheriff says these strategically placed cameras are a great tool in tracking suspects wanted for criminal activity. He even wants to boost the number of cameras to make sure all criminals know that they're watching.
It gives us that proactive crime prevention technology.
The sheriff's office has invested around $400,000 in the popular tool used by law enforcement agencies around the country. Automatic license plate recognition cameras, better known as ALPRs, track and gather a vehicle's color, type, tag, tag and registered owner.
We can upload and hunt you down, so to speak. We can find you within the county. Quite honestly, we can find you most anywhere.
Though privacy invasion concerns have been brought to the sheriff, he says gathered footage is gone after 30 days.
We don't have an interest in you unless you're involved in criminal activity.
The devices have shown to be useful in investigations, tracking stolen vehicles, wanted suspects, missing children, and more. The sheriff's office alone has 37 cameras, more if you count shared access with local municipalities, but the sheriff says that's low compared to the size of the county.
923 square mile county, that's a very small number of cameras.
The sheriff wants more cameras to fill in the gaps in the county and help get criminals off the streets faster.
As a victim of a crime, they want that case solved. And the more surveillance type equipment that we have that's helping us do that job, the more eyes that we have in a community or on a roadway, those are benefits to the community in the form of public safety.
The sheriff says he's looking at going back in front of county council this upcoming budget session to talk about adding 10 to 15 additional cameras. How much that will cost is unclear, but he believes they'll be set from there. Danielle Cobb, WSAV News 3, on your side.
New tonight, staff at Spanky's Southside are rallying around one of their own after a tragic loss. Matthew Trawick was shot and killed in a Target parking lot on Abercorn Street earlier this year. Investigators say the deadly shooting started over a dispute about a parking space. Trawick's wife, Michaela, a former employee of Spanky's, and their children were there when it happened. Now her former co-workers are stepping in to help. They say they consider Michaela family and are doing everything they can to support her during this difficult time.
The second we heard that this was going on, and we knew, once we found out it was Michaela and her family, we were on nonstop going, reaching out to friends and everybody we know in the community. And a lot of people have come together and given us a lot of stuff to donate. And we have, this is unreal what we got from people. And like what we're doing, we're just, everything we have made, everything we have sold, everything we're going is to Michaela. And we're trying to do everything we can to help her out.
And so far, the restaurant has raised more than $4,000 through raffles and donations. Tonight, the fight against childhood cancer was front and center here in Savannah. The 13th annual Katie's Gathering brought the community together to honor children battling cancer and raise funds for life-saving treatments. The event, held in memory of Katie Wilkins, a young girl who bravely fought pediatric cancer, featured beautifully themed tables, a cocktail reception, dinner catered by Magnolia Grill, live music by Junkyard Angel, in both silent and live auctions. The funds raised will support Cure Childhood Cancer's precision medicine program, which develops individualized treatments for children and provide essential support to families navigating treatment. WSAV's Andrew Davis served as MC.
Care's mission has two arms. One is to support patients and families going through a pediatric cancer diagnosis, and the other is to fund life-saving and just life-saving research for pediatric cancers, which are hugely underfunded.
And since its inception, Katie's Gathering has expanded from one Savannah event to 7 across South Georgia, raising more than $6 million.